Hey y'all, it's Zaufee TV. I'm here to give a little spill, get it up, get it out, and keep it moving. So, I'm new here, so I know you guys don't know, but yesterday, July 17th, was my 31st birthday. Yeah, it was. And it was all right. So now we're in a new day today, and today is the day that my firstborn passed away when I just turned 17 years old. And, each day it hits me different. Well, I should say each year it hits me different. Just recently, her ashes were accidentally thrown out. I was in the process of moving, and the bag that had stuff that I was going to keep was thrown out. And I didn't realize it until I was all the way at my destination. At that time, I had moved to California. So I had moved from Virginia to California. And when I tell you, mind you, that was in 2022. So when I tell you that she passed away in 2011. 2011. So, mind you, fast forward 2022, I just lost her ashes. Okay? And that day was coming up again eventually. So, that was the first time that I think I really let myself grieve. Because I think that I was just holding on to it. I just didn't want to forget her. I didn't want to just let it go. I didn't want to forget her. I didn't want her to feel like I just don't think of her. So, I didn't really have that many pictures of her until recently. My father, he told me he had a picture of her. And I was happy because I lost all the pictures of her because my ex that I was with at the time was so evil and abusive that he threw all those things away. That's just another story for another day. But that was the first time that I really grieved. And I remember as I was crying, oh my God, I was crying. I would just think I was breathing, and all these memories of her face kept coming back to me. And it was like missing pieces to puzzles started, coming together. And I stopped crying, and I said to myself, I have to let it go. You know what I mean? I have to. And I think every year since then was okay. Today, it hit different because I just recently received that picture from my father a couple months ago. And when I looked at the picture, it just brought back so many memories. It was such a hard time at that time because I wanted her to live. When I tell y'all I wanted her to live, I wanted her to live. I was doing everything right. I was taking my prenatal pills. I was eating healthy. Mind you, I was only 16. I was just doing everything right because I always wanted a child. I always wanted a daughter because, me and my mom didn't have a relationship and I really didn't feel loved. I was young at the time. So, we all feel like, we want to be loved unconditionally and loved forever. And we always feel like, if we have a child, we assume that they will love us too. They will love us. They will give us the love that we want, that we never received. So I was doing everything right. And I remember it was a month before she passed away that I found out that she wasn't going to live. She was born without kidneys. So basically her kidneys never developed. And there was only about 2.2 centimeters of amniotic fluid in there. And they couldn't tell anything because the amniotic fluid helps you really see through the ultrasound, get a clear visual of everything that's going on. They couldn't see anything. It wasn't until she got larger that they could see through that there was nothing there. So just imagine being 16 years old, doing everything right, and you get told that, and you still have to carry the child, okay? So I knew she wasn't gonna make it, but here's the thing. I wanted her to live so badly that like there was some commercial about some miracle water. And I remember I ordered it, but I never received it because I told you, me and my mom never had a good relationship and she threw it away. Yeah, that's another story for another day, you know. But that's how bad I wanted her to live, y'all. I wanted her to live so bad. Like, I want her to live so bad. And I remember, you know, my birthday came up, and I never forget, I was walking from the store, and I started feeling pain that day. I'm young. I'm not really knowing what's going on, but I remember telling myself, like, no, this can't be. I really didn't understand what was going on. I just knew I was in pain. I knew I was in pain. And I realized, oh my God, I think I need to call the ambulance because I was in a lot of pain. But hours had went by already. When the ambulance came, I kind of knew what was going on because they took me straight to the hospital. And I remember looking up and I'm like, please, I'm not ready to say goodbye. Like, I need one more day, you know. I was like, I need one more day. One more day. But you know, it was already happening. And then when I got there, they checked me and I was already 7 centimeters dilated. So I knew that, you know, this was the time. I feel like nothing could really prepare you for that. You know? There's no, hold on 1 second, tomorrow. Just it is what it is. So, you know, she was breech and they didn't want to give me a C-section because they didn't want me to like have that scar and to like go through, I guess, whatever they felt like I would probably be going through. So she was born breech, so butt first. And she wasn't even crying, you know, she was just trying to breathe. All I heard was, it was no cry. And she was only alive for like an hour. And I remember they asked me like, I haven't really went in depth about this in a long time, but you know, they asked me, they're like, do you want to, you know, basically like, you know, put like the breathing stuff on her and, you know, all that stuff to help them stay alive. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm like, I don't know. They were like, well, you know, you'll basically be putting her through like torture because there's nothing that we could really do. And I just said no, but sometimes I wish I did. You know, you never really know. But I was so young. You know, it's just like she has no kidneys. It's not like I can give it to her. And I think they were telling me that, like, you know, she'll have to go through so much. So I guess I had to be unselfish. But I was just so young at the time. And it's like, you know, now that I am older, you know, 31, I'm sad about it, but it's like sometimes I realize, you know, that blessings don't always come with a smile or, you know, or happiness, or that or you feel some type of happiness. You know, sometimes it comes in this tears and sadness. And sometimes those things are, you know, everything happens the way it's supposed to. Because I think that was a sign from God, like, you don't want to have a kid by this man. You don't know who you get yourself. You don't know who you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know who this man is. I do. You know, he was right. That man ended up being emotionally, mentally, and physically abusive. And he knew I didn't have nobody. He made me leave the hospital right after that. It was just so terrible. He threw away every fucking picture that I had of her. Every hat, just, oh God. It was so evil. You know, I was so young and dumb. And I had a few kids after that with that person, and it took me like years to get out of it. I didn't leave that till I was 24. Till I was 24. You know, but I know that I'll always probably cry about it, you know? I think that I'll always be, you know, a little down about it, but you know, God is real, y'all. And he will speak to you, and it's like, it's not always going to be everything you want. Sometimes it's things that, you know, sometimes it goes against what you want. But you just got to trust, got to listen. You know, that's all you can do. And you'll be all right.